Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast. We have an absolute amazing guest for you today. She is host of Taco Tuesdays, is a diversity and inclusion evangelist. She's a brand ambassador for companies all throughout financial services. And most importantly, she's passionate about connecting people with their right employment opportunity. Please help me welcome back to the show, Dalila Ramos. Dalila, it is great to have you.
It is great to be back, Michael. Thank you so much.
Well, it is fantastic to have you. And with all of those other things that you're great about, I think the most important to me is that we're also dear friends. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So first, let's start off. It's kind of a crazy market right now. What are some of the things you're seeing in today's financial services mortgage marketplace?
Ooh, okay. So that's like the talk of the town, right? Actually just got off the phone with a client of mine, and rates are really, they're getting in there. I mean, they're not scary. Like, I think my first loan at 24, which was like almost 20 years ago, was I think a 6.5. So it's not scary to me. However, for people newer in the industry, yes, they're a little freaked out. This is not the norm for them. And folks are starting to, because they've disappeared the last 2.5 years, right, Michael?
Yep.
Like, they were busy. They were just running and not making time for their relationships, and now they're going back to their partners and their relationships, and they are having a hard time and finding out that their partners are just not, they don't want to, they're like, they broke up with them.
Well, you bring up such an important point, because I think so many people, when loans were easy for the last 2.5, 3 years, they didn't really stick to the fundamentals. They went transaction to transaction. They didn't worry about building the relationship. And then they're shocked now when they call a realtor and say, hey, do you have anybody? And the realtor's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I've already got it covered.
Yep.
People have to work harder in today's market. And when I say that, I see a lot of people kind of just get discouraged and deflated. And for me, get excited.
Yeah.
Now's the time to grab market share. If you look back over the 25 years. I've been in the industry a little longer than you have, but when you were saying you had, when I got in the industry, they were still in the teens, Dalila. So that shows a little bit more of my gray hair, the little bit that's there. But what we know is companies 25 years ago, Rocket wasn't around really.
No. Mm-mm.
And some of the largest lenders now are the ones that really leaned in during the collapse in 2008. And are now dominating the market.
Yes.
And I see that same thing with vendors. Some people make the biggest mistake is they pull back. They stop. I'm going to cut back on my marketing. I'm not going to go to the trade shows. I'm not going to train people. I'm not going to spend time really getting a diverse work group and workforce. And then they're shot. That's like putting an anchor on your leg and going down even faster.
Preach, Michael. This is the time where, listen, if you're trying to get back into the good graces, and this was my taco topic last Tuesday, right, is getting back. I gave you some golden nuggets on how to get back into your referral partner's good graces. And, because it's challenging. It's hard. You have to own up to it. You have to apologize. You're going to have to give first, and it's okay. At the end of the day, it's okay, but this is your time to do something different, because you're going to see the people that entered within the last 3 to 5 years, they're going to fizzle out. They're not what I call true market G's, like mortgage G's, like you and I, right?
It gets rid of the pretenders.
It does. You're going to see them mass exit, and you're going to see the true mortgage G's, as I call them, come up and rise like you and I. And we now have to, along with that, they have to do things differently, because the way that folks are absorbing information is different, Michael. And that is some of the things when companies come out to me, I talk to them about is these newer generations behind us and how they're absorbing information.
Oh, and you and I could talk for hours just on that topic alone of how important video is, how important social is. And I think when you and I talk about social, a lot of people get the misconception that it's all or nothing, only do social or only do live events. And what I have found, and I know you and I have had discussions on this, use social to help enhance relationships so that when you do get the opportunity to meet in person, you already have a wonderful relationship. You already can talk, and it only enhances it.
Absolutely. It's so much warmer, and it's like fun and exciting. It is, it warms my heart every single time when someone comes up to me like, you're the taco girl. You're the, I know who you are. And they never met me, but for the last 2.5 years, they've been following me. And I always appreciate the taco love and the support. And so it's very warm. The conversation is open. It's warm. It's fun.
Well, let's use that as an example, because I think that's a perfect segue into Taco Tuesdays. Are not just because you love tacos, which you obviously do, and we've shared them and everything else, but it gives people a chance to not only elevate their brand in a new, creative, dynamic way, but it also allows companies to get their story told. That if they want to recruit, if they want to retain top talent, explain to our guest a little bit of that dynamic.
So one of the things about my taco platform is I really, when people collaborate with me and they come on as a guest, I don't necessarily want them pitching products or pushing like heavy sales. I want more to highlight them. I want to lift up certain individuals in their companies that have been doing an amazing job. They utilize my platform as well for that. But their journey, how did they get to where they're at? Whether it's the CEO, whether it's the marketing person, whoever it is, I always like to highlight their journey and how they got to where they're at, because majority of the times they're amazing stories. I love them.
Well, and those stories then open the door for finding out about that corporate culture, finding about what they really truly believe and what they're passionate about. And I think that's what leads to better retention. That's what leads to better hiring practices. So let's talk about, you are super passionate about diversity and inclusion. Talk to our listeners a little bit about why you're so passionate about that and kind of how you really got in that role of helping companies grow their diversity and inclusion practices and programs.
Because I'm a walking testimony to it. Oh. I am a walking, breathing, living testimony to the power of our amazing industry, to homeownership, to being a woman of color, a single mom. You can add a cancer survivor. You can add a burn victim. You can, I cover I check a lot of boxes, right? And, but I also am an investor. I own several properties.
Right.
People don't know that, but I do. And, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. It's very powerful. There's power in having properties. Like there's power in properties. And I know how to work them. I work my properties like ATMs. It's not a secret. I have talked to people about that as well. They're not my forever homes. So I'm constantly, doing this and taking out and putting back. And that's how I move. And I want to be able to spread that like homeownership gospel to other women, anybody who's willing to listen. I would love to talk about it.
Well, and I think not just the home ownership, but what the mortgage industry and the opportunities that it's provided both of us.
Yes.
This is a great industry filled with some wonderful people who you can make a significant living. You can provide a legacy for your kids. You can make a difference in your community through what the mortgage industry has provided both of us.
Absolutely. And I will never stop not vocalizing that and preaching that. It's great. It's been an amazing journey.
Well, now we have a major announcement on this show, right? You have a new endeavor, And I want our listeners and I want the rest of the industry to hear about it. Dalila, share with us what's going on in your life and how you're making a difference.
So I am like, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. Let me take another sip of water. I have not announced this. So this is the first time I'm like publicly saying this. And I love that it's with you because you actually were there the moment that it happened.
Yep.
You were actually there. I will always be forever grateful to God for you, Michael, that moment when it happened. So thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Yes. So I have, I've gone on my own. I am no longer with my previous company. It's been a few weeks, almost a month, and I am growing my taco stand.
Awesome. So explain to people what that means, because I think they hear taco stand, they're like tacos, business, brand ambassador, but it is so much more about recruiting and helping people find their next opportunity. Share with us a little bit more of that, because I think you bring such a wealth of knowledge and expertise to this area that is so desperately needed.
Thank you. I have, of course, coming on my platform, I have now monetized that. Like the guests that you see, they are people that I collaborate with, but it's also business as well, right? So that's one part of my little taco stand that I highlight all the time. And I absolutely love working with my clients. The people that come on that collaborate with me are people that I want to. Just so that I'm putting that out there and being honest, like I don't work with anybody. The fact that I'm on my own, this is my own company, I'm working with the companies that represent who I am as a person, as in the industry. So I'm very happy about that. And also I have the other part of it is sourcing. So one of the things that started to happen with my taco videos, the more, because they get a lot of traction, they get thousands and thousands of views.
Absolutely.
Every single week. And it had become several times a week where people would come to me and say, Dalila, I'm looking for a new opportunity. Can you take a look at this offer? What do you think about this company? And it was just almost every day, especially after the video. And not only just individuals, but companies would come to me and say, hey, how are you attracting your followers? What are you doing? And to me, it's just God-given talent, right? To me, it's right. But I realized really quickly that for everybody else, it's not the norm.
Well, and I think that sourcing is so critical, because what I see as we talk about this changing landscape in financial services is one, how do people retain top talent?
Correct.
And then secondly, how do they attract new talent? As people are switching positions and looking for the company, you help make those connections. So if you're a company looking to grow and add key individuals, whether it's C-suite, whether it's VP suite, or salespeople, boots on the grounds, loan officers, you can help source and make those connections. And you have a much different model than just a typical recruiter. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a different model. The niche is diversity. The majority of people who support and follow me are women and minorities. That has a lot to do with how when I go out and I put myself out there, I make it a point to, I represent, the processor, the admin, the AE. I don't misunderstand me. I have conversations with CEOs and executives and C-suite, and I love them. They support me as well. But I just have such love and passion for the people that are boots on the ground and really making the day-to-day operations of the company grow. That's who I represent. And because I am a face and a voice for them, it's who I'm attracting. And those are the people that the companies need to fill their positions. So,
well, and I think you do such a good job of finding good fits, right? It's not just a job. It's not just, hey, a paycheck. Is this person a good fit at this organization for the organizational beliefs that they have, the goals they're trying to accomplish? And when you connect those and make that right connection, it's a win-win-win all the way around.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many factors that play in, is because the majority of people, either I personally know them, like I have some kind of relationship with them. It's not the people who I'm helping place with other companies. They're not leads. It's not people that just, it's not leads. I don't buy any leads. They're actually people that I know or that follow me on my taco journey. And I eventually have conversations with them. I get to know them and I'm like, okay, here is the path where I think you should go next. Here's where you need to navigate. Because there are a lot of folks, I will tell you this, that are leaving the lender, the retail space, and now we had a conversation about this, they're going into the technology side, they're going into the vendor side, because not only is that market is super growing, but they know that they need that under their mortgage belt. They need that to grow in their career.
Exactly. Well, and I think that those technical knowledge and expertise in rounding that out is going to be critical, whether you stay on the lending side forever, whether you go to the vendor side, come back to the lender side. Technology is not going away in financial services.
No.
Well, there's another topic I want to talk about, and most people say you and I shouldn't talk about this topic on these videos and everything, but I'm going to. And let's talk about, because you and I have had this discussion numerous times. I think that's why we're such good friends.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of our faith and business, and that they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yes. So as I ventured out on my own, I made sure that my platform glorifies my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That is the first and my priority. That's why, like I mentioned, I am not everyone's cup of tea. I am not everyone's jam, right? Number one.
Neither am I.
My priority is my relationship with Christ, my faith, and that is my foundation in who I am. Let's just get that out there. But, I was able to, and I'm very grateful. That's one thing about the companies that I did represent in the past. They were very open, and I'll be appreciative of that. I was always very transparent with them, letting them know, hey, I am a Christian. There's times where I am vocal about it. You can see that whether on my personal social media, or I'll even incorporate that occasionally on my LinkedIn. Now, I'm not pushy. I do it with love. But that's honestly what I want to be, the first thing people want to know about me. Like if I want them to leave a memory or a legacy, it's number one, she was a follower of Christ. So there you go.
Well, I'm so glad we can have this conversation, because I agree with you. They don't need to be mutually exclusive. What I find is life is tough.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Look at all the things that you mentioned: cancer survivor, burn victim. I could rattle off all of the challenge I've had in my life, whether it's with family members, whether it's with loved ones. Life is tough. And for me, the easiest and the most important way to get through all of that is being a person of faith first and foremost.
Absolutely.
And that shouldn't be only when I go to church on Sunday. It should be who I am in my business dealings. The character that I bring, the integrity that is important, the type of people we want to work with. And I so appreciate your point of, it's about love. It's not beating people over the head. No. This is my story. And if it works for me and it's important to me, that's what I share. And you and I have a great connection through our faith, but we're not trying to beat it over people's head.
No.
But it's also not one where we have to hide it either.
Absolutely. I am not going to hide it. I'm very vocal. I've been vocal about it for years. One of the reasons why I'm so vocal about it is because that's another question, is people ask me, like, how are you, you're so bright and you're so positive, and your taco videos, they're so authentic, and it's Jesus. Like there's no really secret sauce for me, Michael.
Well, and I know you've had this happen to you. It happens to me all the time, where people may not want to go on a video like this and say what we just said. They may not want to stand up in front of a room and say that, but guess what? They're the ones who catch me on the elevator or the escalator, or pull me aside and they're like, hey, I really like what you said about your faith.
Yeah.
And we have this incredible conversation, or they'll DM me on LinkedIn, and they don't necessarily want everyone on LinkedIn to see it, but they'll reach out, and their faith is very important. So I'm so glad that you're willing to share that, because both of us, faith is such a critical component of who we are and what we believe in life. Dalila, you and I could talk for hours, and I always will have you back on because I so appreciate the knowledge that you share. I couldn't be more tickled about what you're doing in the industry.
Thank
we
you.
need it. You're going to help people make the right connections. You've got a better business model than I think most recruiters.
Thank you.
So you're going to make those connections, whether it's the company looking, whether it's the individual, anyone listening here. If you're thinking about a career change or shift, talk to Dalila. She's going to be genuine. She's going to be authentic. And I think the most important thing she'll do is, here's how she can add value to what you're looking to do. So Dalila, for those listening this week, how can they get a hold of you? If they want to find out more about what you're doing with diversity and inclusion, how to be a guest on Taco Tuesdays, how you can help them source, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Dalila Ramos. You can shoot me an email at loveandtacosmedia@gmail.com. Love and is spelled out, tacos with a plural, media@gmail.com. And also, I'm on Instagram. It's real easy to find me, honestly.
You got a new website?
I got a web. Oh, yeah. I just sent that to you. loveandtacosmedia.com. Yes. And thank you so much, Michael. As always, you're so important to my new journey, and I appreciate our friendship, and your counsel is extremely needed and valued. So thank you.
You're going to do some incredible things, Dalila. I can't wait to watch this next chapter unfold. For those of you listening, give her a call, send her an email, a DM. She can help as this industry is changing and a lot of things are happening. She's going to be the calm in the storm to help you navigate it to the best way that she can. Dalila, thank you so much for being a guest on this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Bye.